Hi everyone, welcome to Woes of Womanhood. So today we'll be talking about values. Melody actually introduced this very interesting exercise recently to reflect back on what your core values are. So I thought I knew my core values up until now until I did this exercise and I realized that it's not what I thought it was.
Wait, that's
So
crazy because I didn't know that actually enlightened you.
it did a lot. And I was thinking back on it and it just all makes sense now. So hopefully this enlightens you.
Wait, I'm so excited because we get to do a debrief after that conversation.
Yes. Yes.
Great
So we're
work.
going to talk through our thought process and what we originally thought our values were, if yours changed at all. Talk about how our values actually really resonate in this period of our lives.
Great intro, Mal. So what sparked this spiral, as one might say, into my values? It wasn't really a spiral, it was just a self reflective period because I'm coming up on my 27th birthday at the end of this month. What I like to do every once in a while is kind of do a journal entry and kind of write down what my thoughts and feelings are in that year, take a look back at the past year, and just sit in gratitude, reflect upon how I'm feeling, positive or negative, and just what's really important to me at this point in time. Honestly, journaling just on a blank page for me is really hard. I need some sort of direction in what I want to do. So then I started looking up just like things on TikTok of what people were doing, and I came across this whole values exercise. And in my past sessions, I actually had a life coach, I guess, through my company. And we did a lot of work around values too. So I thought it would be great to do kind of like a reflective session on my values, just like through the journal prompt. We can go through this exercise together. After I did it myself, I found it really interesting and I brought it to Mal and some of my other friends and I was asking them these leading questions and we kind of had a conversation around how this tied to their values. And I think it was pretty good. Like everyone's trying to identify what their values are, right?
Yeah, and I think it's really good to figure out your values because you get to be in your own skin better. Like, you know, through work or like through relationships, what you look for in people and what you feel most comfortable with. So it just makes you seek better places where you can authentically be yourself.
Well, I wanted to say the hard punching hitting question.
Yes.
After this exercise, I asked, do you believe you're living by your values today? And I think that's a really interesting exercise because, in some ways, whether you know it or not, you kind of are living by your values and what you prioritize, right? It's just like how life works out and the decisions that you make. But sometimes, if you're not in the right job or you have friendships that you're feeling not happy with, a lot of times it comes back to it's a misalignment to your values.
Exactly.
So to start the exercise, there's three main questions that I want you to focus on. The first one is think about a time or several times where you felt the most proud of yourself. Second one is identify a time or multiple times where you felt the most joyful or fulfilled. And then the final one is think back to a time or times where you felt the most frustrated. So it doesn't need to be the most recent time, but just in general when you're thinking about your life, like what are times where you felt all those different things. Okay, so starting with the first question of name a time when I felt proud of myself. Funnily, I found that a lot of times this had to do with my work.
Right.
My work or school or and stuff like that, which makes sense because it's like I haven't really had a kid or anything yet, right? So a lot of the times that I felt most proud are when I graduated from my MBA, when I gave a presentation to the board of directors. And now, honestly, I didn't express this when we had the conversation, but I'm thinking like whenever I execute upon a perfectly curated travel itinerary,
Yeah.
I feel extremely proud.
When she was mentioning this the first time around, she was saying it's all accomplishment, it's like very goal oriented. But I also think in every type of accomplishment you have, there is like a theme to it. So
Totally.
you need to dig deeper than like what task you did. And it's not just the fact of getting over that
What the
task,
task
it's like
was, yeah.
what the task was. So I think that's a good way to kind of hone in onto your values.
Right. So, Mal, what was the time or times that you felt the most proud of yourself?
Like proud. So the first thing that came up to my mind was when I finished my 15 years of violin. I did this thing called the Suzuki method, which is, I think, over 11 or 12 books. And then you go into more like orchestral pieces, but you do like solos for every graduation piece. So I did this for 15 or 16 years. And when I finished my last solo in front of like everyone, I felt so accomplished. And I was like, wow, I did that damn thing. And it was blood, sweat, and tears. And I literally wanted to quit every single year, but I finished it.
Yeah.
When I got my like certificate / diploma, I just was like, damn.
She's a baller.
Yeah.
She's Mozart.
Yeah. When I got the certificate for my Japanese language exam called the N1, and that's like the top level of Japanese you can get as a foreigner. And although I was born in Japan, I still consider myself a foreigner because I never lived there fully. So when I got my N1 certificate, I was like, damn, she bilingual.
She bilingual is.
So
Yeah, great accomplishments. High fives.
thank you.
Next one is when you felt the most joyful or fulfilled. So for me, a big thing that stuck out was traveling and experiencing like new experiences, but also being with people I loved. I think solo travel, not so much. Like I've done a solo trip before, or a portion of my trip has been solo, and that's not as fulfilling. I don't think it's just traveling and having new experiences. It's being with people I love. Obviously, if I'm solo traveling, I meet people and like make new friends, and I think I appreciate that too. Just like not being alone. Like if it's just me doing something alone, I don't feel fully fulfilled.
So the one thing that comes up to my mind, when I go back home to Japan, to my family from the US, because I obviously live here, I only get to see my family maybe once a year. And I sit at the dinner table and my mom just brings food. And we got
like 10-course meal.
10-course meal. Appetizer, we got that salad, we got that edamame, we got that other tapas, and we got the main, but within the main there's different dishes.
She's giving Lux.
And I'm just like and I just forget everything. And I just indulge and I just be. Like I don't even have to, there's no decision making. I don't have decision fatigue. I just sit and just feel and just eat. And that is the biggest fulfillment I ever feel. Another moment is when I had partners. They
Not
would,
present tense, past tense.
huge past tense. When they would make me breakfast in bed or bring me food in bed where I didn't have to move one muscle. I just woke up. The bed usually had the monitor of like getting up, whatever that's called, like that automatic sick people bed where you like, and then the food comes out and I'm just eat. I just feel like the happiest person ever. The last one, when did you feel the most frustrated?
So I have one that comes to mind around friendship. In friendships, I generally think I pour into other people quite a bit, like a lot, or I try to be intentional about that. And if I feel that is not reciprocated, then that does frustrate me. I will give my other frustration.
Yeah.
It was tied to work.
Okay.
And it was when we were going to New Mexico on our girls' trip. And I had this big launch. And then there was a decision made by executives and investors to change a big part of this launch. And I was the one leading the launch, and I wasn't part of the conversation. And then they told me, you need to change this big part of the launch that was going to affect not only the work I had to do, but a bunch of other people had to do. And this was the time that I was really looking forward to spending with my girlfriends on this girls' trip.
Yeah.
So I felt extremely frustrated. Honestly, when I originally was thinking about this question, it was really hard for me to think about a time I genuinely felt frustrated. Like, I feel like I don't really retain negative thoughts that much, as opposed to you.
Yes.
I kind of just, like, forget them.
Yeah.
Like, Mao has remembered Eric and I bickering and what we were bickering about more than Eric or I ever do.
Yeah. All the time.
Mao's like, oh my gosh, you guys were, like, enraged at each other. And we're like, what? Like, what are you talking about?
Okay, so apparently I have a long laundry list of things I get frustrated with.
Right.
One being, okay, so I think this pertains to getting cut off, but it's the bigger meaning is like not being understood fully, because I have so much layers to my thought process. And if someone just takes the first layer of what I'm saying or like assumes what I'm gonna say, they don't understand the full extent to that. And there's like more of a because or a why. And I hate that. And then the second one, I think I just grew up with my family or my mom keeping promises with me, like really stringently. And I feel like promises are very important to me.
So if someone breaks that promise.
Yeah. Like if I say pinky promise and then they break that pinky, I'm just literally like, I hope you
did these exercises along with us.
Yes.
Would love to hear if you have any experiences to share. Put them below. From those questions, we pulled out key themes for us and then created our top 3 values that we thought were kind of the most prominent key themes that stood out for us. So, Mao, what are your top 3? And we kind of collaborated on this, I think, together.
Yes, we collaborated. Number 1, hard work. Yeah. Number 2, servitude. Yeet. Number 3, loyalty. Yeet.
Okay, and my top 3, number 1 is connection to family and friends. Number 2 is growth of the mind. And number 3 is recognition. Thank you. Okay, so for the connection piece, thinking back to all my stories, something big that stood out to me, it doesn't have to be across all of them, but in general, I think something that's really important across those layers was being with people that I loved and that I really care about. So my family and friends. And in situations like for my work change in the launch, that took me away from an experience where I was trying to connect with my friends and be present. So that was an example of how that was frustrating, and that connects to, oh, I'm frustrated at that because a key value of mine is connection, and that was trying to take it away. The growth piece ties back to my MBA program, and I think that's a pretty key theme in my whole life. I find a lot of fulfillment out of challenging myself. Like I got my NASM certification. I just do things like to challenge myself and learn something new and have a growth piece. And finally, recognition, which is kind of a spicy one because sometimes you think that recognition can be slightly conceited in a way, which is true. I guess it is a slightly conceited thing. But I find that I really do feel most fulfilled when I'm recognized for the work that I do. Even in friendships, when people are like, wow, I saw the effort you put into this, or like, wow, I can see how you've been a really great friend to me. When I'm recognized for things that I do, it provides me with a lot of fulfillment.
It's very interesting because I think when her values are put into words that are tangible, I'm like, oh, so this is what I need to do as a friend, or like, this is what she likes. So then I change my behaviors and stuff. So,
I mean, you don't need to change your behaviors, but
I will recognize her cleaning the dishes tonight.
It's not recognition of I need someone to say that explicitly. I think in the way that Mao treats me in the past, I can tell that she recognizes. Oh. So I think you were recognizing me without you even knowing. Okay, your turn.
So starting with hard work, that falls into my proudest moments, like my violin, like my Japanese exam. Frustration, I know I put in the hard work, yet someone will cut me off. Then servitude is my second one, and you guys might be like, what the hell?
What the hell?
Melody brought this word up and I was like, huh? But then I was thinking back and I was like, oh my God, that's true. Because I love just being treated like a princess. Like I don't have to lift one finger up and things are served to me. I feel so fulfilled that way and I feel loved that way. And I think that is shown through like how I love how my mom cooks and serves me, or like my partner does that. So I think it is nuanced a little bit, but I love that. And then
we love the spicier ones that could be like kind of negative, but it's like real. But also you serve others as well.
I serve others.
I think it goes both ways.
Through hard work, I serve others.
Right. Militant.
The last one is loyalty, and that is definitely through promises. That is through understanding me, trying to understand the layers of my thought process.
And those are just our top 3. Obviously, there's a longer list.
Originally, I was like, oh, humor, authenticity.
Because you kind of stack rank your prioritization of your values. So after we landed on these top 3, we come back to the hard-hitting question that I presented earlier. Do we believe that we are living by our values?
Unfortunately, that answer for me is yes.
Unfortunately?
Well, it's in my Japanese blood. If we were Access Powers, those 3 values will get you far.
This is historical context. This is like the history embedded in your blood.
Yes. It's always been those 3 values since I was a fetal individual until now, but I just didn't put the words to it. And now that I do it, everything makes sense and why I feel so frustrated at people's non-servitude. Thank you. Hold the thumb and then salute.
Okay, thank you so much.
Yes.
My values.
Do you live by your values?
I definitely live by my values for sure. There's this thing that I saw on TikTok where it was like people were commenting on this video about the values, and they're like, what if I have values that I want to aspire to, but I'm not living today? Or like, I feel like I have that as a value, but I don't want to. She responded and she was like, well, self-awareness is the first step. You can always change your values at the end of the day, but it comes down to really changing your life.
I don't think it changes for some people though, like me.
I honestly think that it may seem like it changes over time, but I think it just gets much more refined. Like it's the same, but maybe of like slight variations. Like for me, connection, maybe when I was younger was like super family heavy. Now it's more friend heavy or something like that.
Yeah.
So it's still under the connection bucket, but maybe a little bit more
Like
nuanced.
granularly, yeah, it changes.
The nuances change for sure. The key themes have stayed the same. So if you do that work and kind of reflect and think about it, it's crazy that you'll go back to all these stories and ways that you've lived your life and like, wow, I fully get why I felt that way.
And it's also forward looking.
Yes, that is true, because when I'm making decisions in my future, I'm saying, is this aligned to what is going to be fulfilling for me and what my values are? And it helps with prioritization too. Like, oh, I really want to do this, this, and this, but is this in my values?
Also helps to cut people off.
Okay, Demon.
Figure out who your true friends are.
That's great reframing. Was there a value that you wanted to have that didn't show up?
Definitely humor.
But that was kind of on your list.
Well, I don't know why it didn't show up, but I just love it when like the whole house is laughing. I make other people laugh. Humor makes everything more lighthearted, less negative. It's actually proven health-wise that it makes you less sick.
I don't know why, but I think in the beginning of this episode, we were like on the edge of the couch, and now we're like extremely close.
Yeah, we're on like top of each other.
Tell me about your values.
Why are we so close? All right, well, I hope you guys enjoyed that episode. Time for you to reflect now, and time for us to shut up. So we'll see you not next Thursday, but the Thursday after that. Bye.
Bye.